Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Karmic Gacha system in Modern Family World. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 141, Prom, Part 3, Final. Edward POV. My blood boiled as I saw the sight in front of me. I clenched my fist while walking inside the girls' bathroom, but before I could lose my temper, Abby looked into my direction and hurriedly grabbed my arm. "Ed, look at me," she said as she tried to gain my attention. After she called me a few times, her efforts managed to bring me back to reality, otherwise I would have followed my idol, Kazuma's example of true gender equality. "It's fine. I'm fine," she said with a smile as she gently held my face. Right then, the principal broke through the crowd and was shocked as he saw the scene. It didn't take much questioning to see what had happened here with the scissors still on the girl's hand, and the scattered black hair on the bathroom tiles. Dramatic gasp. "Kennifer! You! What have you done? What were you thinking?" The crowd gasped as they realized what she had done, and Kennifer ran away crying under the gaze of everyone around. Anais walked towards Abby before she said in an angry manner, "Hey! Do you want me to shave this girl's head? Just say the word. I will do it. There's no need for that. I just want to get out of here now," Abby said in a depressed manner. I nodded and grabbed her hand before I walked away with her. "Come, let's go." "Wait. I'm coming with you guys," Anais said as she followed us from behind. We didn't go out of the school, but instead we went to the rooftop as per Abby's request. Anais helped Abby to style her hair with a choked-up voice, making it a twin bun instead of a twin tail. "I'm sorry," Anais said in a depressed manner while touching Abby's hair. "No. It's not your fault," Abby replied. Anais suddenly said, "I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to your hair." The abruptness made Abby laugh for a bit, and Anais decided to leave us alone after helping Abby calm herself. "Now, are you going to tell me why you're being weirdly but at the same time, scarily calm? Like a psychopath in a horror movie who hides everything behind a smile?" I asked her with a concerned expression. "I am calm," Abby replied. "I just think that the whole situation is funny." "Funny how?" "It's funny because I realized that the girl, and myself, don't have much of a difference after all." "Huh? We are both delusional," Abby said with a heavy sigh. "It's like the universe is currently slapping me awake, telling me that you'll never be mine." "No one in the world wants us to be together," she muttered as she held back her tears. "So yeah. I'm not mad at her. I'm mad at myself for my stupid decisions and letting you go before." She turned her face away from me and decided to sit on her favorite spot in the school. I scrunched my eyebrow before I sighed and decided to sit at the edge of the roof, dangling my legs in the air as Abby and I sat together, watching the night sky. Abby suddenly said, "I know." "Know what?" "About the cause of the fight," she said suddenly. "Abby, I didn't mean to lie dash. I know that too. I know you care about me. When I think about our story, it is ironic that this happened. I was scared that you'll turn out like my dad, and I decided to leave you before I was too attached to you. Well, that's turned to shit, and it was also the shittiest decision I had ever made in my life." She laughed a bit, which made me smile. "I know. I'm awesome after all," I joked. She continued after rolling her eyes, "And now, when I know that you really had lied to me, the world-shattering feeling that I experienced before didn't come. Instead, my heart is filled with happiness. That was when I realized that I was feeling more than." She blushed a bit and didn't continue, which made me quite baffled. "Hungry?" I guessed, which made me get hit by her punch at my bicep. Why is that the first thing that comes to your mind? She said angrily. I chuckled and said, You're the one who doesn't finish your sentence. She smiled and looked at the sky again before saying, So don't worry about me anymore. I'm already okay with it. It took me a while, but I finally managed to move on. Well, sorry to break your self-actualization party, but we don't actually know what's going to happen in the future. What are you talking about, Ed? We both know our story is going to end after I go back to New York. Abby said in an annoyed manner. I'm sorry, but I'm a firm believer of communism. Abby froze and her entire mind blanked out before I added, Rom-communism. Ugh. You little dash, what is that? She was torn between getting angry and being curious, and the latter won the struggle. Well, Abby, Rom-communism is a worldview that I learned from someone amazing. Oh. Who's that? A coach from the South. I replied before I explained, this worldviews reminds us of romantic comedies with good-looking people, such as Ryan Reynolds, Sandra Bullock, etc. Jennifer Lopez. Abby added. Her too. If all those attractive people with amazing apartments and interesting jobs, usually in some creative field, can go through some light-hearted struggle and still end up happy, then so can we. Abby widened her eyes in surprise before slightly nodding her head in agreement of what I just said. Believing in rom-communism is all about believing that everything that is going to work out in the end. I said as I held her hand. You feel like everything is going wrong in your life. It's fine. Just consider that you're going through the dark forest. Fairy tales do not start nor do they end in the dark forest. That setting usually shows up in the beginning or in the middle part of the story. So don't be sad. Your story is just beginning. Both our stories are. She leaned her head on my shoulder, and after a while, I said, You know I care about you, right? Yeah. I know. Abby replied in a casual manner. I care about you too. She said. So, what do you say? Want to go back to the event? I invited her. You still owe me a last dance. All right. She nodded slightly before she smiled and said, Last one, there is a rotten egg. Then, she ran away quickly as I stood there baffled as her change was too drastic. Wait, what? I realized it too late and she was already gone. However, as I take a step forward to chase after her, I found myself unable to do so. Abby POV. I knew he wouldn't be able to choose me. I was being selfish when I made him invite me to prom, but I didn't want to go with anyone else. Our relationship was cut short because of me. If I didn't freak out that day, would we still be together? My heart shattered when I thought about that day. But as they say, there is no medicine for regret. As I thought about it, maybe it was for the best that we had broken up before. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to act together with Taylor or to kickstart their whole career in an explosive way. I always knew Ed had a weird obsession with money. I hate to be the one to hold him back. Taylor is better than me in this regard. I just hope that she will always be there for him. Although I was clear on that, I still allowed myself to hold on to a tiny sliver of hope. The girl attacking me in the bathroom made me realize that I was delusional. But then, something interesting happened. What the hell was that? Rom-communism. I thought funnily as I ran away from Edward. The hope that was dying in my heart was ignited once again. Maybe not now, or maybe not even 5 years from now. As he said, we won't know how things will turn out in the end. So what if I have to move away? It's not like the time we had spent together was going to be erased from existence. Now, I have a new kind of hope. Not the type of hope that he would end up together with me in the future. But it was more of the kind of hope that, if and when we meet again later on, we wouldn't be held back by our circumstances, and at that time, we could finally say what we truly wanted to say to one another. Edward POV. Moron. I cursed myself after Abby had disappeared from my sight. It was all my fault. I was the one who let that happen. It was because I was being selfish, and now Abby had gotten the brunt of it. Although I was clear of the potential repercussions as I invited Abby here, I thought that I was able to protect her from getting hurt again. But now, I couldn't move my leg as I watched her disappear from my sight. When she truly had gone away later, what would I do? Would I still be able to protect her like I did right now? My chest tightened as I thought about it. I thought that I was prepared for saying goodbye, but I kept finding myself making irrational decisions. I could have said no when Abby hinted about prom, or I could have distanced myself with her as I need to make sure to stabilize my lover's label with Taylor. I let out a long sigh before I walked towards the dance hall slowly with a complicated feeling. As I arrived, the students there were looking at the stage as the student council president was speaking. "Ed. Over here." Dylan called from afar as he stood together with Anais and Abby. My date couldn't look me straight in the eye as I walked towards her. "And now, the winner for the prom king, Edward Newgate. Wait guys. I told you not to vote for Edward," Miranda said in exasperation through the thunderous clapping of the crowd. "Huh?" I was confused when I suddenly won, but then someone cleared up the situation for me. A skinny boy who was holding hands with a braces-wearing girl said, "You made us get together. So we will vote for you, even if you weren't part of our school students." Dylan was so excited and he pushed me to the stage, and Miranda stared contemptuously at the crowd beneath her as she angrily said, "I couldn't even call out the next student who won, as you guys all voted for South Park. Are you guys fucking with me?" The students laughed at the pitiful student council president. It wasn't Miranda's whim that she wanted a senior or a junior grade student from the school to win the prom king position, but it was stated in the school's prom rules. Who else is going to be king if not Lord of Fluffy Shire? Anais suddenly teased from the crowd. I blushed a bit as I shrugged her off, but a lot of the crowd was agreeing with her, which made Miranda perplexed and didn't know what to do. "Miranda. It's fine. Don't worry about it. In fact, it would look weird if a famous person didn't win as our prom king," the principal said haughtily before adding, "Continue with the prom queen." Ugh. This better not affect my transcript, Miranda said before saying, "Now, whoever's the one lucky enough to be elected as the prom queen for our whatever in the budget night prom event, please remember to act with decorum as you guys stand on the stage. And the winner for the prom queen election is Abigail Rutherford." "Huh? Who's that?" Dylan and Anais looked around puzzledly, but then the principal nudged Abby towards the stage. "They are calling you." "Wait. No one knows my true name?" Abby asked in confusion, but the principal wiped his sweat and said, "Nonsense. Of course everyone knows it. Why wouldn't they know it?" Miranda was also confused. "Abigail Rutherford? Who's Abigail Rutherford? If you don't respond, I need to call out the second place winner." "Abigail Rutherford? No one? Seriously? No one?" Although I knew who the girl was, I could see it in her eyes that she would rather die than admit her name was Abigail. So following the rules, Abigail will be kicked out from the competition. The true winner of the event is Abby. The crowd cheered in excitement as they heard it. Not only did Abby work together with me to help the kids get a date before, the incident in the bathroom also had made her receive some pity and admiration votes from the crowd. "Oh. I did something useless," the principal mumbled before Dylan and Anais excitedly brought Abby to the stage. The committee placed a crown on her head and a satchel over her shoulder as they did to me. "Kiss. Kiss. Kiss. Kiss." The crowd chanted as it was tradition for the prom royalty to kiss each other after they were elected. "Well, we can't disappoint them," I said in a casual manner. Abby rolled her eyes in annoyance and said, "Did you rig the votes? How in the hell did we win?" "I don't know. Maybe the crown just loves me," I replied as I waved gently at the crowd in a royal manner. Abby blushed as the crowd kept chanting, and she inches closer before she kissed me on the cheek just to shut them up. The crowd cheered explosively, and that was how her prom night ended today. After the event was over, a few students asked for a picture together with the prom royalties, and we didn't say no. Dylan won the Dance King title, and when he was on the stage, he pulled Anais with him and they made out right in front of the crowd. The limousine arrived soon, and this time, it was only Abby and I who got in on it. Dylan and Anais were heading back to his place, which was actually an studio apartment Dylan had rented after he moved out of his mom's. The money from his work allowed him to be more independent, and that was the first thing that he did after buying a cheap car. So he got a lot of tips at night? Abby asked in disbelief after hearing the story of how Dylan got his money. Yeah. If the guests were cougars, he would usually find more than $300 inside his underwear at the end of the night. And the best part is, he didn't even know how they managed to slide it in his pants. I said jokingly. Abby laughed in pity before we suddenly fell silent as we looked into each other's eyes. So, Abby stammered while fanning her flushing face. What are we going to do now? She asked. Well, right now I'm going to take you home. I replied in a casual manner, which made her face get even more red. Whatcha thinkin' about you dirty girl? I'm just sending you home. I said teasingly as I reached into the mini fridge and took out 2 cups of different tastes of pudding. I know that. Abby shouted in embarrassment as she snatched a cup from my hand and started to eat the pudding angrily. I laughed and sat right next to her, and suddenly said, I think that there's something wrong with my tie. It kept choking me. Let me see. Abby leaned in with concern and tried to look closely at the knot. But as she was near, I snatched a kiss on her lips, making her freeze in disbelief. Ah, Abby, you can tell me if you want to kiss me. You don't have to be so coy and pretend to look at my tie. I joked as I loosened my tie. Abby was bewildered and she smiled in disbelief before saying, Coy? I'm the one who's playing coy? I licked my spoonful of pudding before I pointed at her with the plastic utensil and said, yes. She pounced at me instantly like a startled cat, trying to get even. When we reached her home, I escorted her to her door like a gentleman while the limousine drove away. Do you want to come inside? Abby asked while biting her lower lips. Yes, and yes. I replied. Huh? She tilted her head in confusion, but then ignored my peculiarity as she led me inside. Suddenly, Abby received a text from someone. It's Anais. Abby's face flushed red instantly and I could imagine that smoke was coming out of her ears as she read the text. I got curious and I snatched the phone from her hand despite her protest to look at it on my own. Dylan is in the hospital. His entire body cramped out after ejaculating. Alright, delete text, and also deleting this from my memory. Although he did manage to seal the deal after the dance, he had to spend the night being warded instead because of his little accident earlier this evening. I texted Dwayne to tell him that Dylan was in the hospital, and also texted Frankie that as she was responsible for managing the employee's health insurance. Lucky guy. I pursed my lips in jealousy before I said to Abby, well, I better get going. Wait. She suddenly grabbed my hand. What is it? Well, despite the risk of being selfish again, I have to remind you that you promised me to have the full prom experience today. She said shyly while looking at the floor. My blood rushed to my face before I coughed awkwardly. Well, I know. But I thought no need to think so much. This is all part of the prom tradition. There's absolutely nothing more hiding beneath it. Well, if you say so. We gazed into each other's eyes, and slowly inched our faces together. But then, I suddenly received a text from my dad, disrupting the atmosphere. Ha! That's weird. He said he's not coming back home today. That is weird. Wait, where's my mother? Abby finally realized that her mother wasn't here, and after texting her, she received the same kind of text as I did. Ha! Weirder and weirder. Oh well. Abby and I shrugged our shoulders before she wrapped her arms around my neck and I around her waist as we wrestled our tongues together. She tried to unzip her dress, but was unsuccessful, so she turned her back towards me and said, "Help me with this." All right. Then, I smoothly pulled her zip down and then we continued with the prom tradition in her bedroom. Chapter 142, Morning After. Edward POV. I felt a prick on my nose, and a slender finger tracing along my eyes and face. I slowly opened my eyes to see Abby smiling at me. She had removed her makeup last night, therefore I was greeted by a cute bare-faced girl. We were both lying on the bed in her mother's room, hugging each other without any clothes on. The consequences of an impulsive action we did last night as we went there to search for protection after running out of stocks in her room. Morning. She greeted me with a smile. Last night was great. Great? Try phenomenal. I joked as I pulled her body closer to mine. She blushed a bit before slightly hitting my chest and said, "Don't mess around. Get up quick. I need to throw this sheet into the washing machine, and mine too. Otherwise my mom will see the blood on it." She pushed me away and stood up next to the bed. I admired the sight of her naked body before she said, "Get up now. You need to go back to your house before your aunt knows you are gone." Ugh, so you used me only for my body? My dad is right. Women are all the same. They tricked you in bed with flowery words, and then you're worthless for them the next day. She threw a pillow at my face and said, "Hurry. I think I heard the sound of a car pulling over." Wait. Oh shit. I heard the same sound, and I quickly helped Abby to change her mother's bedsheet and jumped into the shower with her to clean up the traces of last night before wearing our clothes in the bathroom. She peeked out the door after we were ready and signaled me as she saw that her mother was still talking at the front door. "I'm going out the window, wait. Is that my dad?" I recognized the voice speaking to Desiree, and both Abby and I froze in our place as our mind pieced all the puzzle together. Did they spend the night together?" Abby asked nervously. And nothing is going on between them, right?" I was also stuttering. If, and this is just and if. If they really did go out with each other, does that mean we're going to be step-siblings?" Abby said in horror. Our eyes met accidentally, which made both of us flinch and take a step back. Luckily for us, we didn't shout. I don't know whether to be turned on or disgusted right now. I muttered as I walked into Abby's room. "You and I both," Abby said as she went to greet her mother. "Oh wait. Don't forget to go to the pharmacy to buy Plan B pills," I reminded her. "Way ahead of you." I was already texting Haley while we were in the shower. Abby replied with a smirk. "Haley? I didn't know why I was feeling quite guilty." Abby was confused by my reactions, but I just waved her off and entered her room. Then, I jumped out of the first-story window, holding the windowsill as I wanted to carefully land on the grass. However, I landed quite badly and sprained my left ankle for a bit. Shit. I cursed as I braced through the pain and limped to my aunt's house direction and changed my prom clothes before returning to Abby's front door in a roundabout manner. Abby was crossing her arms with a dissatisfied expression as she interrogated Desiree, "Where did you two go last night? Did you know I have been worried sick?" I was confused by her act, but then I decided to join in the fun and appear right behind my dad. "Hey. I saw you pulling over with Desiree. Did you guys have sex last night?" "Edward." Desiree gasped in disbelief while my dad froze in his spot. "And no, I was just showing her the coast." "Really? You didn't bring her to the extremely romantic ocean night view place where you can admire the stars together while having a glass of wine, did you?" My dad opened his mouth a few times, but he couldn't seem to answer the question. I narrowed my eyes at her and Desiree before I said, "You did. Now, you didn't return till the morning, so I guess you included the sunrise experience, or were you guys just so tired last night that you decided to just return in the morning?" "Sunrise. The sunrise thing," Desiree answered quickly. Why are you so flabbergasted, Mom? Are you sure that nothing happened between the two of you?" Abby asked with narrowed eyes. Both of us were in the morally superior position right now. The parents couldn't do anything against us except for answering the questions honestly. Suddenly, a gentle breeze flew, carrying the faint scent of body soap towards the mother. "Wait. Why do I smell? Desiree's eyes suddenly lit up as she glanced into my direction. She wrapped her arm around my neck as she pulled me in close and sniffed my scent a few times. Yeah. This is my body wash. Desiree's face became stern as she glanced at the surprised Abby and saw her hair was still wet, and so was mine. Did you guys just take a shower together? She asked while narrowing her eyes. She then gasped and asked in a concerned tone, Dino. That couldn't be happened. You guys are exes. You guys didn't sleep together after prom, right? What? No. Abby replied. That stutter is convincing. I said to Abby, which in turn she glared at me. Don't change the subject. Did you and Mr. Newgate sleep together or not? No. We did not. Desiree replied decisively. He was only being a gentleman and a true friend. We did nothing but talked all night. Lame dad. I said, making my dad look at me in disbelief. I don't think my dad is that lame, or... You guys are lying right now. Answer my question, Ed. Did you just take a shower at my place? Did something happen between you and Abby? Desiree asked. Did something happen between you and my dad? I asked. No. Then no. 2. I was being a gentleman, and we talked a lot last night. I replied in a perfunctory manner which made them think I was mocking them. Wait. This is going nowhere. And we don't have to explain ourselves to you. I'm going to go ask your aunt whether you were here last night or not. My dad said while hiding his guilty look. Sure, go on. She went to Calexico last night and hasn't returned till now. I replied in a casual manner. It was a damn good luck for me that I went to change my shirt first and saw her note near the key drawer. Unlike my dad, Camila knew when to give me my much-needed privacy, therefore she had made herself scarce last night. If only I knew it sooner. Well, I don't regret it though. Dad, let me see your wallet. I said suddenly. My dad was confused, and Abby was interested. Why? What's you looking for? She asked. He always kept a condom in one of the slots although he wasn't getting laid. I want to check if it is still there. Sure. I have nothing to hide. My dad gave me his wallet instantly. But know this, once you open it, you will become someone who has no trust in his own dad. I have no qualms with that and I opened it without hesitation. Oh. It's still there. Abby breathed in relief and said, Thank God. I don't think I can handle you as my stepbrother. Only in this era, Abby. I have a feeling the step-siblings' preconceptions will change a lot after a few years. Especially in the sites you always frequent. I joked, but no one gets it, which made me quite sad. Sites? What sites? Desiree was curious. Abby blushed and brushed her off quickly before saying, Don't speak nonsense. You have your concert this evening, right? Go and get ready. Wait, Abby. There is another assumption that they did it without protection last night. In that case, we didn't sleep together. My dad and Desiree said exasperatingly at the same time. I still narrowed my eyes at them as I muttered, See, synchronicity. They are being suspicious, Al. What's wrong, Ed? My dad asked. Nah, I suddenly felt a jolt in my ankle. I said as I reached my hand to grab my dad in order to stand straight. Abby and Desiree looked at me in concern as I winced in pain. Did you trip somewhere? My dad asked as he held my arm to support me. Yeah, I did on an uneven sidewalk. I replied without hesitation. Abby's eyes darted around as she was thinking that my injury had something to do with our strenuous exercise we did last night, and wanted to offer her help. My dad stopped her as he said, Let's get that checked. We will stop by the doctor before going to your school. No. I'm fine. I will be fine. I said as I tried to toughen it out and stand on my own. I smiled as I managed to do so. See. I'm fine. I succeeded in taking one step ahead. No, I'm not. Then, I fell on my face as I tried to take another step forward with my left leg. General POV. Dunphy's house. Where's Haley? Desiree asked after Claire called and invited her to her house for some tea time. She's out with Abby. Claire asked with a knowing smile on her face. Desiree touched her face as she said, I think that something had happened between Abby and Ed last night. Claire widened her eyes in surprise. Really? How did you know? Well, for starters, she washed both of our sheets this morning. She has never done that. She even washed my sheets too. So I'm very confused right now. It's hard to say with just Dad. Haley has been helping me with the chores, basically trying to annoy me as she followed me around the house, trying to emulate everything I was doing. So I guess the chore thing is something the girls have read in a magazine somewhere. Claire continued, besides, why would she wash your sheets too? It's not like they will mess around on your bed. That was just disrespectful. I guess you're right. But they are still suspicious. Desiree said with a sigh. And? Claire tried to instigate her friend. And what? Desiree asked, confused. She sipped her tea as she glanced at Claire. Don't play dumb with me. Abby told me you spent the night with Ted. Desiree spurted out her drink straight to Claire's face. What? I mean. I'm sorry, Claire. She reached for the tissues and helped Claire to wipe her face quickly. I don't know what you think you'd heard, but nothing happened. Desiree clarified with a blushing face. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, and Phil shouted from upstairs, I'll get it. He ran towards the door, almost tripping himself over a broken step, and then opened it up. Hi. Phil was confused as she saw the brunette standing in front of his house. Hi. My name is Francesca Dart. I'm the interim managing director. Frankie. Come here. Claire realized who the guest was and invited her inside quickly. Will you excuse me? Frankie let out a sigh and passed by Phil and walked towards the woman sitting in the living room. Oh hey Claire, what time will we be going to Alex's school? Phil asked as he checked his watch. At noon. Don't go anywhere. Alex especially asked me to make sure of that. Claire said. As Frankie was greeting Desiree, Luke suddenly walked towards Claire and said, Mom, did you know that the word Ohio looks like a tractor? Ha? Honey, have you done your homework yet? Claire asked, but Frankie was a bit stunned and she quickly intervened, I think so too. It did look like a tractor. Ha! I knew I was right. Luke said. Thank you, kind lady. He did a short, gentlemanly bow at Frankie before walking away, which made a smile break out on Frankie's almost stoic face. Claire looked at her in a puzzled manner and asked, did the word Ohio really look like a tractor? There is some resemblance, yes. Frankie said. You're great with kids. Do you have a child of your own, Frankie? Desiree asked as she wanted to get to know the new lady. God, no. Frankie replied in a casual manner before saying to Claire, what time shall we start preparing for the mobile application's release? Whoa, wait. Hold on. What do you mean, God, no? You don't like kids? Then how did you? Claire was baffled by the situation. Frankie replied, I have a mentally challenged sister. So I know how to respond to a childlike train of thoughts. It's better to reply and affirm his curiosity rather than to judge. It will save both of your time if you did that. Claire's face froze, and she said quickly, Luke is not mentally challenged. Claire's commentary. I mean, there are some signs, but he's a sweet boy. Commentary ends. Oh no. I'm not saying that he's challenged. I'm just saying that he's similar to my grown-up sister who's a bit challenged. Frankie asserted quickly to prevent any misunderstandings. Frankie wondered if she had touched Claire's insecurities, and wanted to quickly change the topic now, so we still need to handle a few things before the app's release tonight. The ads have been running for a few days, but I am still unsure of how Edward is going to make money from this free app. Hold on. So Luke is similar to her? Should I bring him to a doctor to get him checked out? Claire asked anxiously. Frankie was concerned and tried to placate her. Oh no. If your family doesn't have any history of mental issues, then that boy is just a curious boy, that's all. Honey. Do you know the word Ohio looks like a tractor? Phil suddenly walked in while laughing. Claire's face became determined as she mumbled, I need to bring him to a professional. After buying the Plan B pills from the pharmacy, Haley stared at Abby with a dissatisfied look as they drove home together. You didn't even think to use protection? She asked angrily. We did. And then we ran out. Abby replied with a smirk. You used it all. Haley opened her mouth in shock before she blushed and tried to ask, so, how was it? It was freaking great. Ugh. Why the ugh? Haley asked mockingly. Yeah, ugh, 'cause we can only do it once. Abby replied in an angry manner. I'm already going to New York this Sunday. Good. I mean, oh no, Haley said in a fake manner. They went to Terrace to pick her up before they drove towards the middle school festival together. During the drive, Tara and Haley made Abby spit out every single detail about last night, whether it was girth, length, or even the direction it was going. Damn. Now I'm attracted to Ed. Should I break up with my boyfriend and go after him? Tara asked jokingly. By the way, did you guys know about Dylan? In a hospital nearby. Pepper pushed open the ward door in a dramatic manner before grabbing an intern doctor nearby. Where is he? He asked. He's over there. The intern replied in fear as she pointed towards a hospital bed with the curtains drawn to cover up the patient. Pepper strode towards the bed quickly and entered the space dramatically before grabbing the doctor there. Tell me it wasn't a real doctor. Tell me that we can still save his legs. No. It was just a sprain. The doctor replied in confusion. Wait, Pepper? Teddy? Pepper recognized the doctor and released him instantly. Mitchell's ex-boyfriend? I knew I recognized him from somewhere. Ed mumbled to himself as his left leg was wrapped in bandages. His dad was standing behind him with a concerned expression. Ed, should you really perform today? The doctor tells you to rest for 3 to 4 days. It's okay. I'll rest after I finish performing. Besides, that was just a suggestion. Ed replied in a dismissive manner. No. Let's do an MRI. Or a CAT scan. We need to make sure that your leg and your whole body is really fine. Pepper said while grabbing Edward and shaking him. Ed smiled and said, take a chill pill, Pepper. I'm okay. Teddy backed up the teen, he is fine. He's healthier than most kids. It's just a sprain, so don't worry about it too much. Yeah, Peps. I'm at least better than Dylan over there. Edward said as he pointed towards the patient bed in front of him. Dylan was peacefully sleeping and had an 4 bag connected to him, with the warning sign, do not come near, placed around his neck. Wait, you know him? Teddy asked. That poor kid. He shook his head as he remembered the events of last night. What happened to him? Ted asked in concern as Dylan was a part of his crew. He had mixed up a few medications, and it caused him to ejaculate continuously at the slightest touch in simulations. That's why we banned all the nurses from going near him. We had to put him down as he's been spraying his all over. Oh damn. Edward muttered in surprise. Teddy nodded and said, well, a good thing about it is that a neurobiologist has offered to pay all the expense for his medications if she could connect a few electrodes on his brain. She's coming over right now. Who's she? Edward asked. Her name is Dr. Amy Farrah Fowler. Teddy replied. Oh damn, Edward muttered again. In an airport nearby, Taylor and her dad disembarked from his private plane. He was wearing a cowboy hat and outfit while walking side by side with his daughter. Scoot said, "Where's your friend?" "Selena? She's driving straight to the school and will be waiting for us there." Taylor replied casually before she pouted and said, "So let me go alone." Her dad smirked and said, "No. Or else you'll run straight to that boy again." "I thought you liked him." Taylor protested in anger. "I do. That's why I'm getting you away from him." He deserved a normal girl. Taylor punched her dad on the arm before he could continue. "I hate you," Taylor muttered before huffing away while her dad laughed at her demeanor. Taylor suddenly stopped walking as she read a text on her phone and turned back towards her dad in a hurry. "Dad, we need to go to the hospital right now," she demanded. "Huh? Why?" Scoot asked in confusion. Then, Taylor showed him an article, opened from a link that Selena sent to her, about Edward being admitted to the hospital. Breaking news! The teenage pop star Edward Newgate was admitted to Johns Hopkins Hospital hours before his charity concert. Paparazzi started crowding the front of the hospital as Edward's whereabouts was leaked by an irresponsible hospital administrator looking for quick cash, and it quickly became a zoo there. "Fuck. I can't even run now," Edward cursed as he saw the crowd from behind a curtain. Chapter 143, School Festival. Edward POV. Snap 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 snap. "Mr. Newgate, how did you get injured? Will you cancel the charity concert? What will happen to all the donations? Does Taylor know you're injured?" Flashes of camera light basked my body nonstop as I walked out of the hospital towards my company's car under the escort of a few burly bodyguards to keep me safe. The paparazzi kept shouting their questions and even tried to break the bodyguards' protection. Some of them almost succeeded and I was pushed a few times even with my injuries. "Animals, all of you! Animals!" Pepper shouted with gritted teeth as he tried to chase the paparazzi away. "All right, everyone! Stop!" I said while clapping my hand loudly. My voice carried a trace of anger, and the rambunctious group of the paparazzi was actually stunned and then calmed down a bit by it. Did I awaken Conqueror Hockey? I thought in confusion as I saw a now calm group of people. "Which one of you is from an official news company?" I asked. Only 3 of them raised their hands in an obedient manner, which saddened me a little. Most of the reporters here were part of the hyena faction which stalked celebrities in order to make fast money from either blackmailing, selling private information and pictures to a media channel, and some just enjoyed the feeling of destroying someone's image and reputations. I will answer one question each from just the official media. I muttered. "That's discrimination," one greasy-looking hyena said as he grabbed his camera and started snapping the pictures again. "It is," I replied honestly, which excited the crowd as they felt that they had won something great today. "You, the blonde who looks like Lois Lane," I said as I pointed at the woman right in front of me. A little flattered, the woman smiled for a second before she held a recorder at me and asked, "How did you get injured? And will it affect the upcoming charity event?" "Oh, I just tripped on an uneven sidewalk. It will not bother me to sing on stage, so no. It won't affect the concert," I replied casually as I pointed at my bandaged leg. I showed them that I could still wear my shoes and said, "As you can see, I can still walk by myself." Although it was painful for me to do so. I was just faking it so as to not let my fans get worried about the concert happenings after this. Next, the reporter from Orange County. The tall man nodded with a serious expression before asking, "Why does the charity event target only the homelessness in this state? What about other places in the country? I think that question should be asked to the politicians rather than an underage boy. Don't you?" I replied with a laugh, causing the reporters to chuckle too. Then, I paused for a while before replying. When I was 9 years old, I usually rode my bike to a convenience store in the city. There was a homeless guy camping in an alley nearby, so every time I walked out of the store, I would give him $1. The crowd was attracted by my story and the camera flashes stopped. One day, after a hard day at school, I wanted to get a type of candy that I usually buy at the store, so I went outside when it was already dark. And as expected, I came across some trouble with some people lingering there. They were dealing with some controlled substances that could put them in jail for life, and I happened to witness it. I said with a nostalgic expression on my face. The reporters all held their breath as they listened, and so did my dad, who was part of the bodyguard squad, and Pepper, as they never knew about the story before. One of them has a knife, and right then, the homeless guy, who I usually gave the $1 bill, because my mom told me to, suddenly tacked those thugs away. One person heroically faces off 3 guys just to save a tiny little kid. Nice story, right? Well, the homeless guy got stabbed, I said, causing the crowd to let out a gasp. The one stabbing him, at the last second, finally gained a sense of morality or fear for what he had done, and decided to run away instead of stabbing me next. So I was saved, and I never saw the homeless guy again. His name is Will. A great guy, who had made some financial mistakes, and had to sleep on the streets. Every time I gave him $1, you know what he would do? He will go inside the store, buy those 99-cent hot dogs, and that will be his meal for the day. I looked into the crowd and saw their faces change drastically as they heard the story. So if you're asking me why I'm holding a charity event to feed the homeless, you need to know about Will. The crowd was silent for a while, with some furiously jotting everything I said down on their notes. Okay. Last question. Jamie from the Hollywood Times, I said with a smile as I turned to the familiar-looking woman in front of me. She looked similar to a K-pop idol that I have seen in my previous life, but I had never learned her name before. You know me? She asked with an impressed smile. Yeah. I remember all the pretty ones, I replied. She blushed a bit, which made the camera flashes swarm appear once more. I was helpless and said, "How many thousands of photos do you guys need? You will only use 1 or 2 in the articles." Some reporters were embarrassed, but some didn't bother to stop. Jamie came back to her senses and asked, that made my next question rather awkward. Will Taylor S. come to the concert today? My sources tells me that she was back at her parents' house till yesterday. As expected of the writer in the gossip panels and the Hollywood Times magazines. Well, almost the entire magazine was filled with gossip, so it was more of a tabloid magazine rather than a normal one. Oh, I hope she will come, I interjected quickly as I was already fed up with the light flashes. I had already given her the invitations. Not only her, but her dad too. Her dad? Why? Jamie's eyes lit up as she caught on, but I just showed a toothy grin and said, no comments anyway. I should probably go and get some rest like my doctor told me to. Goodbye. Wait. She shouted, but I had already gotten in the black, 7-seater SUV car with Pepper and my dad. The flashes of lights become tremendous as I leave, and I know for sure that the gossip media will have a field day with my answers. Ed, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, my dad said, in which I thought he was referring to the paparazzi's plague, but I was wrong. I won't scold you for going out on your own. Oh, right. That was all made up, I said suddenly, which caused Pepper and my dad to widen their eyes in shock. Even the driver was shocked, and he accidentally swayed the car, causing our ride to get blared by people's horn. An act. Pepper gasped in disbelief after calming down. I thought you really had gone through with the story, felt real. Yeah, I know. I'm an amazing actor, I replied haughtily with a smirk. Truth be told, the story was from my experience, that needed a slight alteration in order for me to tell that story. When I was almost stabbed before, I had no parents, and I didn't go there to buy some candy, but it happened after I had run away from the orphanage in order to search for my true parents. How naive I was at that time. My dad was still suspicious about my disclaimer, Ed, if you fear that I will get angry. Dad. Mom doesn't even let me eat candy or ride a bike. Don't you remember you're the one who bought me my first bike after she left? I said in a casual manner to remind him. Ah, that's true. He finally relented and believed that I had lied before. Won't you get in trouble if someone decided to confirm whether it was true or not? 'Cause if there is a stabbing, there will be a record of it. he added. Well, to be honest, it will be difficult for them to confirm anything. There are a lot of crimes in the city, and stabbings, although rare, have reached more than 100 cases per year. And I didn't even confirm to the press that the homeless guy was dead or not. If they actually want to ask me about it, I can play the traumatized card, and those who dare to ask will be hunted by every single one of my crazy fans. Ah, Pepper exclaimed in realization. He gave me a faux contemptuous side eye as he muttered, "You scary little man. Hey, I'm already taller than you. Anyway, Peps, let's go to the festival now. I want to shoot some ducks." My dad and Pepper looked at each other as they heard it. "You know you can't join the crowd, right?" My dad said with some hesitation. "Huh? Why not?" Pepper answered, "Most of the ones who came are your, and I'm quoting you, crazy fans." I was stunned for a while. Shit. Language, X2. I crossed my arms as I pouted at my seat before I said, "I want to try everything there." "I will ask someone to buy it for you." "Wait, did you just say everything?" Pepper asked in disbelief. I nodded with a grin and said, "Yeah, everything." I laughed insidiously, which made Pepper feel like a headache coming in. Tisk, I clicked my tongue as I watched the bustling field from inside the music classroom. "I want to play too," I said whiningly before I turned towards Mrs. Henderson and Pepper, who were discussing today's affairs. "The concert will start in 3 more hours. When I'm done with the final safety check on the newly constructed stage, I will come and get you guys so that you can get ready backstage." Mrs. Henderson looked at her tablet while saying that. Pepper nodded in understanding. "All right. We can do that. About the dancers dash." "There's dancers?" I muttered in confusion, but Pepper ignored me. "The stage can support up to 30 people dancing vigorously on top of it," Mrs. Henderson replied. "Thank you." Pepper smiled. "There's dancers?" I muttered again. "What about the fireworks? Have they been set up?" Pepper asked again. "No, we couldn't get the permission from the city. It will be okay someplace else, but they couldn't let us do it in a school area." Mrs. Henderson shook her head slightly in disappointment. "There's dancers?" "Shut up, Ed, X2. I scoffed after getting scolded and limped my way towards the door as I heard a knock. Just to be clear, I knew about all of that stuff. I was just trying to annoy them, in which I succeeded. "Surprise!" the cute Enid yelled out after I opened the door. "Surprise? I asked you to come here," I said with a smile as I invited her in. "Where's the others?" I peeked at the corridor to search for my other food delivery friends, good friends. The best. They are still waiting in line. "I'm bringing this first 'cause I don't want it to get cold," Enid said as she gave me a foot-long, golden-colored corn dog in mustard packets, as she didn't know if I wanted the condiment or not. "Nicey!" I exclaimed in excitement as I reached out to grab it. But Enid pulled her hand away in a playful manner. "Give me my rewards first?" I sighed and asked, "What do you want?" We didn't agree to a reward beforehand, and I paid for all the food before I sent them out to hunt. So I was a bit taken aback when Enid wanted something, but then I realized she was just playing around. "Nothing much. I want to be the first person ever to get your autographed album." "The first? Oh, that's easy. All right, you got it. Not gimme my footlong meat." "Ah, Pepper, not the kind you always get." Pepper snorted and said, "If I can ever get a footlong, will I still live a single life? Stop focusing on Dwayne and start focusing on those around you. He's there. You just can't see it," I said in a casual manner as I took a bite of the corn dog. "Huh? What are you guys talking about?" "Footlong what?" Enid asked in a quizzical manner. Mrs. Henderson interrupted quickly. "Enid, don't you have something else to tend to? If you can get another food, then you're going to get 2 rewards. Enid's eyes lit up. "Really? I'm going now. Wait for me." She dashed out of the room immediately before I could even say anything. Hey! I didn't agree to that yet. Enid dash. She had already disappeared before I could finish my words. I bit the corn dog with a solemn face and muttered with my mouth full, she won't spread the words right? Why ask when you already know? Mrs. Henderson said with a smirk as she walked beside me. She had already finished the discussion and will be going out now. Wanna try? I offered my corn dog to her, which to my surprise, she actually leaned forward, brushed her hair behind her ear, and bit on it seductively before returning to normal position. It's sweet, she said with a weird face. I know, it's disgusting, I said while taking another bite. But I just can't seem to stop, I added. She raised her brows at me before walking away while muttering, you weird little kid. Hey! Man, not kid. Pepper walked towards me after finishing a call. Mitch and Cam are here. Oh, why are they here so early? I asked in a casual manner as I finished my corn dog and threw the wooden stick to the trash can. I don't think it's for the food. How could you finish that? Anyway, Mitchell wants to meet us. Oh, bring me some slushy and he may come. General POV. A slushy? Mitchell was walking with Lily and a brunette 10-year-old girl through the festival. Mitchell, there's a slushy stall right here. Do Ed want the red, or the blue? Cameron asked. Amanda, do you want a slushy too? I want to see Edward Newgate. Amanda demanded like an entitled brat as she stomped her feet. Cam, what is red, and what is blue? Mitchell asked, ignoring the kid. I don't know, they wrote red and blue. I don't think there's any flavor, just color. Cam replied with an exhausted face. A few stalls away, Haley and Abby were also walking around the festival street before they suddenly bumped into the hurrying Enid. Hey, watch out. Haley then realized who it was, and said, Enid. Watch where you're going. You're going to get in trouble. Abby looked at her friend weirdly before turning to Enid and asked, Why are you running? 'Cause I want a reward. Enid said before she ignored the duo and ran away. Abby then turned to Haley and spoke sarcastically, and what's with the motherly scolding? Huh? Did I succeed? Haley asked in confusion. Succeed in what? Abby was also confused. At the activities section of the festival, Jacob was swinging down a hammer in a violent manner at the Hammer arcade game. The score kept going upwards, and it stopped at 831 after the bell rang. Congrats! You broke the record. The facilitator of the game gave him a fluffy pink unicorn as a prize. He grinned and gave the prize to Elsa, who was already holding multiple stuffed animals and prizes. Stop. I don't need a gift anymore, she said exasperatingly, but her boyfriend ignored her plight and went to the next game instead. Jenna was following the couple from behind before she ran into Enid. After hearing the explanations, her eyes lit up and she abandoned the stupid in-love couple to go food hunting with Alex, Phineas, Billy, and Abraham. Soon after, Abraham knocked on the music classroom door using their secret code with a handful of food. Tofu burger? Are you serious? Edward looked at the impertinent kid. Huh? You asked us to get the most weird food in the festival, right? Abraham asked in confusion. I said I want to eat rare or weird but good stuff. Tofu burgers aren't weird. It's just vegan, Edward said while taking a bite of the burger. Ugh, disgusting. Then stop eating it. Pepper yelled at him, but Edward kept munching every single thing his friends brought him till there's no leftovers. Try this deep-fried Oreos. Phineas walked around with Billy and handed the food to Edward. Huh? Oreo? This is interesting. Edward's eyes glinted in excitement before he turned to Billy. The girl sighed and said, deep-fried broccoli. Edward was weirded out, but he kept smiling. He popped a single deep-fried Oreo into his mouth. Oh, this is actually good. Good for diabetes. What's wrong with this festival? Why is everything deep-fried? Pepper complained. Edward ate the broccoli and said, "This is actually tasteless." "Stop eating everything, Ed. You'll get fat." Pepper teased. Alex walked together with her dad, Phil, who gave Ed a hug the moment he met him. "Hey. It's been a while since I saw you." "Yeah, I miss you too, Phil." Edward muttered as he wrapped his arm around Phil, but it was actually to take what Alex was holding. What's this? I mean, I know it's cotton candy. But what was it before?" Edward asked. "It was supposed to be a puppy. But we took too long and it already melted." Alex rubbed her head in annoyance as she gazed at her dad. "Oh. Puppies are good too," Edward said as he bit off the already small cotton candy in one bite. "As a design, right, Ed?" Alex asked in concern, but Edward just smiled ambiguously at her. "You're talking about the design, right?" she asked again, fearfully this time. "Maybe." Alex was shocked, but Phil was just smiling by her side. "Edward, are you nervous about playing today?" "You should ask your daughter that question. Her face is getting pale," Edward teased. Jenna appeared after the family had left to go enjoy themselves in the Ferris wheel. They will join Manny and Luke there, together with Gloria and Jay. "Finally. A normal-looking food," Pepper said as he saw the chocolate-covered banana in Jenna's hand. "I will go get the bodyguards." "Edward, don't come out of the room." Okay, Edward was left alone with the girl. Jenna fidgeted before asking, "So, can we really ask for a reward?" Enid can't shut her mouth, huh? Edward laughed a bit before saying, "Sure. I can give you a reward if you want." "Really? Great. Then, I want you to feed me the banana." "I'm sorry, what?" Jenna pointed at the container and showed that it had 2 chocolate-covered bananas in it. "Oh, that banana," Edward muttered. "Sure." He grabbed a stick of banana and pointed it to Jenna's mouth. She blushed and bit her lower lips before looking at Edward with dreamy eyes. She slowly brushed her hair behind her ear as she leaned forward to lick the chocolate dripping from the banana, from the bottom to the top. She moaned slightly as she puts the banana inside her mouth while maintaining eye contact with Edward, who's contemplating life right now. So big. Alright, stop it right there," Edward said as he pulled his hand back. "My Edward banana." Jenna whined pitifully. "What the hell, why did you do that?" Edward asked in disbelief. "Well, I read the horoscope today, and it said that I start my summer with an impact, so that won't forget me." "So that what?" Edward asked as Jenna's voice was too tiny for him to hear. "Nothing," Jenna said as she stuck her chocolate-covered tongue out. "Well, the horoscope thing got it right. I won't ever going to forget that happened," Edward muttered. Jenna blushed and ran away from the room. Just seconds after she left, Mitchell finally got to the class. "Hey Ed. I bought some slushies and fairy bread," Mitchell said in excitement. "Oh, did Cam bake them?" Edward asked as he grabbed the rainbow sprinkle-covered bread. Mitchell paused and then exclaimed in disbelief, "What?" Chapter 144, Charity Concert, Part 1. Edward's POV. After Mitchell explained Amanda's situation, I agreed to help him by meeting the girl and taking a photo with her. I also gave her my poster and signature before ushering her away as politely and quickly as possible, as she was beginning to get on my nerves. She appeared satisfied, though, and Mitchell wouldn't get into any trouble. "I'm sorry, Ed," Mitchell said. He felt apologetic for leveraging our connection for personal gain, but I wasn't holding it against him. I knew from the TV series that he had practically no work-life balance, as his boss kept pressuring him. "It's okay, Mitch. I'm just glad you could make it," I reassured him. Baby Lily displayed excessive enthusiasm as we hadn't seen each other in a while. She playfully nibbled my cheek while I held her, resulting in my face being covered in baby slobber. I burst into laughter at her antics and started tickling her, eliciting baby giggles that made Cam's face turn red with jealousy. Hey, Ed, we should head backstage now. Alex suddenly entered the room. Alex, good luck out there. Break a leg. Cam exclaimed enthusiastically as he took baby Lily from my arms, despite her clear reluctance to leave me. Wait. Taylor is almost here. I want to meet her before going on stage, I mentioned as I wiped my face with a wet tissue. Pepper, who had entered the room alongside Alex, chimed in, no, she won't make it. Huh? Why? I inquired, perplexed. She actually went to the hospital to surprise you there, but now she's stuck in traffic. She won't be here for at least another half hour, so it's better for you to get backstage first, Pepper explained. I let out a sigh before responding, all right? Make sure to give her the tickets. Don't worry about it. Now, go and get ready, Pepper urged. If you're too late, the crowd will start to gather, and it will be problematic if they spot you walking backstage. The venue was situated in the middle of a field, with no discreet pathways to avoid being seen by fans. So my best bet was to get backstage before the crowd started congregating for the show. It's still an hour and a half until showtime. Isn't it too early? Alex questioned, looking a bit confused. It's not early at all. In fact, there are already dozens of people in the field, Pepper responded. I stepped out the door, and suddenly, a tall blonde girl shouted, surprise! And embraced me. Taylor! I exclaimed excitedly, returning her hug, while Pepper and Alex snickered behind me. Ah, you bastards played me, I teased as I turned to the duo. Taylor continued to smile and wrapped her arms around my neck. I missed you. I missed you too, I replied. Suddenly, Taylor's expression turned serious, and she began sniffing my clothes. Taylor? I asked, feeling both confused and concerned. I smell the scent of another girl. Who's that? She inquired indignantly, but her eyes still sparkled playfully. Does it smell like talc or baby powder? Because you can see my other girl right behind me. Taylor turned around and saw Lily, her face flushing red with embarrassment. I swallowed hard, wondering whether I should be honest or not, but Pepper came to my rescue. Girl, he needs to get backstage right now. You can have your lovers' quarrel later. Oh, is it time already? Alright, I'll go be with my dad. I'll introduce you guys after the concert, Taylor said with a smile. Sure, I replied as I watched her walk away. Pepper suddenly grabbed my shoulder from behind and said, Ed, why were you so nervous when she asked you if there was another girl? I don't know what you mean. Let's go. We're already late. I hurried towards the stage, not wanting to delve into that topic with Pepper. Suspicious, Pepper muttered as he followed me. Hey Pepper, can we come? Cam asked with a grin. As long as you keep your mouth shut. Nah, we both know you won't be able to do that. Just don't get on Ed's nerves, Pepper replied nonchalantly. As I exited the school compound, a few bodyguards joined me on my way to the staging area. Some fans recognized me and eagerly took out their phones to snap pictures while screaming for my attention. I waved politely with a friendly smile. Only 30 people. Pepper, should I call them over? I inquired. There weren't many people around yet, as most fans didn't see the need to arrive so early. However, this specific group consisted of members from my fan club, who were decked out head to toe in my merchandise and held banners with my pictures and name. Why? Pepper asked, taken aback. Well, they came here quite early, so I want to create a nice memory for them, I explained. Pepper grinned and responded, okay, if that's what you want. Call them over, I instructed one of the bodyguards accompanying me. The burly African-American man nodded and approached the scattered fans, informing them of my desire. With faces flushed with excitement, the crowd of teenage girls hurried over to me, causing me to take a step back in surprise. Hey, it's Lily, I commented as I spotted the bespectacled blonde girl in front of me. Lily's face lit up, and she asked with excitement, you remember me? Yeah. You gave me the keyword fairy tale at one of my previous concerts. You've cut your hair a bit shorter, but I can still recognize you. How have you been? I inquired warmly. Other girls were grinding their teeth in envy as they waited for their turn. I've been well, Lily replied with a stutter and a blushing face. She couldn't even meet my gaze. Don't be so nervous. I just had another Lily slobbering all over my face a few seconds ago while she was in my arms. You guys share the same name, so you could borrow a bit of her confidence, I reassured her. Ha! The fan club members were puzzled, and some were infuriated, thinking I was talking about my significant other. Edid. Baby Lily called my name at a perfect moment. I chuckled and held her in my arms before saying, see. You really could use some of her confidence. The fans blushed in embarrassment, while the fan club president was initially startled but then broke into a wide smile. Hi Lily, the adult Lily greeted the baby. Lily, the 1-year-old, mumbled her name while clinging to me, casting wary glances at the girls to assert her possessiveness. I conversed with all of them, learning their names and chatting with those who were brave enough to ask for personal pictures. Only after that did I enter the backstage area, still holding baby Lily in my arms. She really doesn't want to be apart from you. What magic did you use? Why does my daughter adore you so much? Cam grumbled in confusion as he took Lily away for the second time, despite her reluctance to leave me. Cam, my entire existence is magic. Alright, Alex, what about Phineas and Billy? Have they arrived yet? I inquired. Alex responded, yes, they're on their way here. So, what do we do backstage? Typically, we'd familiarize ourselves with the stage and check our instruments. But there's already a professional team handling that, so let's just get a feel for the stage layout. Oh, and we need to change into our outfits. Outfits? I glanced at her boyish attire and remarked, yes, you definitely need to change. Ugh, Alex groaned and obediently went to change her clothes. When Phineas and Billy arrived, their fashion choices were also critiqued, and they too willingly went to change. We proceeded to the stage, which still had the curtains drawn, to acquaint ourselves with its layout and ensure we didn't interfere with the dancers as we moved around. Actually, we won't even move around, we'll just perform from our designated spots, Billy teased. I playfully tapped her head with my knuckle, causing her to pout and almost shed a tear. Peps, have the dancers arrived? I inquired. Edward. Before Pepper could respond, someone called my name from behind, and I was enveloped in a dual hug. Kaya, Anna. Glad to see you guys here, I greeted them warmly as Anna examined my height with her hand, looking incredulous. How are you taller than me now? What did you eat to grow this quickly? Mainly fertilizers and steroids, I replied, momentarily shocking both of them, as well as anyone who overheard. I was just joking, I quickly added, earning relieved sighs from the surrounding crowd. With a wry smile, I shifted the conversation to more professional matters. I learned about the spotlights, speaker placements, dance choreography, and more as I prepared for the performance. Hey, kid, I'm not too late, am I? Just minutes before the audience could enter the venue, I spotted some familiar faces heading backstage. Hey, Robert. Why are you here so early? Weren't you planning to come towards the end? I asked, smiling as I walked over to greet them. John chased me off the set, RDJ explained, giving me a light hug before turning to two individuals beside him. You know them, right? He asked, sporting a mischievous grin. Of course. ScarJo and Don. I'm quite surprised to see you guys here, I said enthusiastically as I shook hands with both of them. Well, we came to support the cause. And because John also kicked us off too, Don Cheadle quipped playfully. Scarlett added, the dancers kept talking about you, so I got curious. In me? I flirted. RDJ rolled his eyes and swatted my shoulder, remarking, you're 15. Don't make a move on her. She won't fall for a dash. He was the one who got swatted next. Scarlett rolled her eyes and said, ignore him. I chuckled before asking them, you guys should find your seats. The performance is about to begin. RDJ quickly nodded and said, sure. Do you want me to be the MC? Ugh, you offer it too late, I playfully responded, playing along with RDJ's feigned offer. General POV. Tickets, please. An official staff member checked the tickets of parents and students, permitting their entry into the venue. Most attendees wore excited and eager smiles, though some parents seemed less enthused and were likely coerced into coming by their spouses or children. Gloria, I thought we had VIP seats. Jay inquired, trailing behind Gloria and Manny as they made their way to the plastic chairs in the seating area. These are the VIP seats. If you buy regular tickets, you have to stand behind us, Manny explained. He had donned a blazer as if he were attending a classical music performance, which irked Jay. You'll ruin that jacket with your sweat, Jay grumbled. It's fine, the sweat might help me lose weight faster, Manny retorted. Hey, Claire. Gloria greeted Claire enthusiastically as she waved her ticket, spotting the Dunphy family already seated. The seating arrangements had no specific assigned spots, so Gloria decided to sit next to the Dunphys. Hey, we're here too, Mitchell greeted Gloria and Jay from their seat one row behind the Dunphys. Lily wore noise-canceling headphones to join the concert, and Gloria was so excited to see the baby that she took Lily from Cam's arms. Why does she like everyone but us? Cam complained, waving his hands in the air in mild frustration. You're the one who insisted on bringing her to a concert, Cam. Wait, is that the VVIP section? Mitchell's eyes lit up as he recognized several celebrities seated in front of them. Gloria, can we afford VVIP seats? Jay asked incredulously, observing the comfortable, cushioned chairs in front of them. No, the tickets are reasonably priced. But I wanted to sit with my family, Gloria replied casually, irking Jay. Eminem, RDJ, ScarJo, Don Cheadle, Taylor, Selena, Jennifer Stone, another actress from Wizards of Waverly Place, a few TV anchors and journalists, several Hollywood directors with deep pockets, and many more top models, actresses, and artists were present. What are they all doing here? Cam asked, excitement lighting up his face. Mitchell responded, I don't know, maybe the charity event tugs at their heartstrings? Cam snickered with an expression that seemed to say, as if. Suddenly, the music blaring from the speakers seized the attention of the entire audience. It's starting! Haley exclaimed excitedly, waving two balloon sticks with Edward's name on them. Abby had chopped her hair short following the previous night's incident, styling it into twin buns. She, Tara, and Haley joined forces to cheer Edward on. Several cameras, including a Jimmy Jib camera, were capturing the show, which was being broadcast live on various streaming platforms. Wow, there are already 190,000 viewers tuning in, Pepper muttered in astonishment. They only need to pay $10 to watch it, right? And the numbers are still climbing. Edward's advertising campaign is really paying off. Yeah, $10 to watch, an extra $5 to comment, and another $5 to create your own chat channel. The kid's brain is a money-making machine, the director chuckled heartily. This is what Edward meant when he said that he could make a lot more money, even though he donated all the proceeds from the school event to charity. Nike and Soup have already signed a deal for a commercial, with payment tied to the number of viewers, Harvey explained. A few more companies are vying to include their commercials, and even NBC and ABC have reached out to us, Harvey added. Donna is handling those negotiations. Edward left all the business to you. I'll just trust your judgment, Pepper said, patting Harvey's shoulder. So, you're basically passing all the work to me, Harvey quipped. Without further ado, presenting the one and only, Edward Newgate, the MC declared after giving a brief introduction to the concert and its charity cause. Suddenly, a man wearing a white mask and a classical suit appeared on stage with a violin in hand. Ha! Abby was puzzled, but Haley's eyes sparkled as she exclaimed, That's Edward. Taylor, who was watching, was momentarily perplexed before recognizing Edward. Why is he holding a violin? She murmured with a worried expression. Edward began playing Vivaldi's Four Seasons, Winter, instantly captivating the entire audience, who fell into a trance-like silence. Oh my God, Camila whispered. That's why my sister didn't want him to do anything else. Ted, standing next to her in the VVIP section, wore a solemn expression. He sighed deeply and remarked, "It's been too long." The symphony seemed to claw at the hearts of those present. Suddenly, Haley noticed that her cheek was wet. "Huh? Why, am I crying?" Despite the powerful melody, Edward's anger and sorrow seemed to permeate the entire venue, causing hearts to race, throats to tighten, and emotions to swell. Some felt suffocated, some began to weep, and others experienced intense anger. The prodigy. RDJ's eyes widened in disbelief, sensing an overwhelming anger emanating from the music. Edward continued to play for about 3 minutes before abruptly stopping. The entire audience remained silent, and then Edward seized the violin with both hands, hoisted it into the air, and smashed it to the ground. Gasps of shock rippled through the crowd, taking a few moments for them to regain their composure. "Holy fucking shit!" Abraham exclaimed. Mrs. Henderson closed her eyes, and a solitary tear trickled down her left cheek. The curtains were drawn open, revealing the figures of Phineas, Alex, Billy, and several dancers, all wearing masks similar to the one Edward had worn, along with Victorian-era style clothing. Edward removed his mask as he returned to the microphone stand and tore away the fluffy neckties around his neck. A king who had lost his kingdom. The revolution had begun. Edward swayed to the music as it started, with Alex on the cello, Phineas on the violin, Billy on the drums, and a bronze bell in front of her. Her eyes held traces of excitement and nervousness as she watched Edward perform. Coldplay, Viva la Vida. The song's introduction filled the audience with anticipation. The combined efforts of Alex and Phineas were joined by Billy's beats. I grabbed the microphone while still clutching my guitar in one hand and began to sing.
I used to rule the world, seas that rise when I gave the word. Now in the morning I sleep alone, sweep the streets I used to own.
Claire's expression froze while Phil teared up, murmuring, "He must have been so lonely." Cameron was also moved, while Gloria asked Manny, "What did he say?" The song continued. The elderly history teacher pushed up his glasses and mumbled, "This feels familiar." Phineas smirked as he played the violin, his eyes locked onto Edward's back with an intense gaze. Billy smiled as she struck the bell. Edward, brimming with excitement, raised his hand as he sang the chorus.
I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, once you've gone there was never an honest word. That was when I ruled the world.
The crowd erupted in excitement. Even those initially reluctant parents had now changed their minds and were fully immersed in the concert.
It was the wicked and wild wind, blew down the doors to let me in, shattered windows and the sound of drums. People couldn't believe what I'd become.
A gentle breeze caressed Edward's face as he continued to perform. Taylor whispered, "Is it time for the revolution now?" Taylor's dad, Scott, maintained a stoic expression, but his left foot tapped the ground subtly, following the rhythms.
Revolutionaries wait for my head on a silver plate, just a puppet on a lonely string. Oh, who would ever wanna be king?
Unbeknownst to Edward, the lyrics had stirred deep emotions in two people close to him, his dad and his aunt, causing tears to flow.
I hear Jerusalem bells ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Mirror, mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know St. Peter won't call my name ever on this world, but that was when I ruled the world.
The guy who stands in front of the gate of heaven. Abby's eyes lit up as she realized what Edward meant.
Never on this world, but that was when I ruled the world.
So he was never true to himself while he was on top of the world, RDJ muttered. Damn, I have no words. Damn. Don Cheadle was astonished as he tried to comprehend the lyrics. The chant of "oh, oh, oh, oh" filled the air with an inexplicable emotion. Jacob muttered, "Is this about the French Revolution? Why are some people crying?" Elsa rubbed her forehead in frustration and retorted, "Do you really think this is just about the revolution?" "That's what Ed told us," Jacob replied naively.
Hear Jerusalem bells ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Mirror, mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know St. Peter won't call my name ever on this world, but that was when I ruled the world.
Beads of sweat glistened on the children's faces, yet their eyes shone with fanaticism as they soaked in the thunderous applause from the audience. Mrs. Henderson wore a satisfied smile, while the Dunphy family had never been prouder of Alex and Edward. Edward, catching his breath, flashed a grin before addressing the microphone. "What's up, Franklin Middle?" "Oh ha!" The crowd surged with excitement, their voices ringing out as they cheered for Edward and the rest of the band. Chapter 145, Charity Concert, Part 2. Edward's POV. "Oh, how I missed this," I muttered as the crowd chanted my name. The opening act had been more successful than I had planned. Through my earpiece, I could hear Pepper updating me about the web broadcast, which had grown to 350,000 viewers in just a few minutes since the concert began. $3.5 million in my pocket. Though, compared to the 300 million citizens in the United States alone, the number of the audience is quite small. I want to take this to the international stage, but I have little time to do that, I thought to myself. How's the stability and quality of the broadcast? Harvey asked the director, reminding her to provide updates every 10 minutes or if there was a surge in viewers. The picture is still high definition, even with choppy internet. The quality won't degrade. How did he do it? Even the live TV broadcast stations aren't as stable as his, the director exclaimed in wonder. I nodded in satisfaction before turning back to the crowd. Everyone, before we continue, I want to introduce a few talented people who are joining me on stage today. The bespectacled beauty with the cello there is Alex Dunphy. I pointed at Alex, who was wearing a white dress and a cropped jacket. She grinned, pushing up the Ray-Ban-style spectacles I had designed for her, earning cheers from the audience, especially from her family and friends. "We love Alex." Abraham suddenly unfurled a banner, causing Alex's face to blush bright red. "Take that down!" Alex screamed, making the crowd laugh. Jacob complied with her request, not wanting to distract her. "And we have another cutie patootie on the drums here, but that's only for now. She'll show you how she shreds on an electric guitar later. Billie Eilish." The crowd cheered for the young girl. After my documentary was released, Billie's reputation had surpassed that of Alex and her brother, becoming the most famous person on the stage after me. Perhaps it was because she sang a cover song from Smash Mouth, earning her a lot of older fans who cheered for her today. Billy smiled shyly as she waved at the crowd, still clad in oversized clothes with Albert Einstein pictures on them, her hair tied up in twin buns, shorts, and boots. Next up, the handsome, though not as handsome as me, Phineas O'Connell, I said as I pointed to the cool-looking boy right behind me. Like me, Phineas had competed in various classical music competitions since he was young, so he knew how to maintain a stoic demeanor in front of a crowd. I covered the microphone and whispered to him, "Smile, Phineas." "You forgot to smile." "Ah, right." Phineas was taken aback and started waving at the crowd while flashing a shy smile. It was a new experience for him, as the crowd exploded with cheers and chants of his name, reinforcing his decision to leave classical music behind and enter mainstream music. "And last but not least, your one and only." "Me." I joked with the crowd, earning laughter all around. For our next performance, I'm sure you guys are already familiar with it, Me and My Broken Heart. "Enjoy," I announced. The crowd erupted in cheers, and I turned to my friends, asking, "Are you guys ready?" "Well, at the very least, I'm not ready," Alex answered pessimistically, making Billy and Phineas laugh. I smirked and returned to the audience after offering a few encouraging words to my friends. We performed Me and My Broken Heart, 7 years, which brought a bright smile to Jay's face, The Lazy Song, and Believer, which received an explosive reaction from the crowd. Sweating hard, Billy and Phineas waved at the crowd in satisfaction, while Alex tried to cover her face as the embarrassment waved over her. I hugged the band members and shouted to the crowd, "Give it up for Franklin Middle School students performer." They did pretty well, don't you think? The crowd cheered thunderously as I hugged Phineas, Billy, and Alex one by one. They bowed to the crowd as their performance was already over. The show reached the first break, and we bowed to the crowd again before going backstage. A Latina girl in a cream-colored dress was getting ready as we left the stage. "Hey, good luck out there," I said to Selena. She grinned and said, "Thanks. I'm really nervous." "Don't be. Most of the crowd out there are parents and kids. They would be supportive no matter how hard you fail." She rolled her eyes and scolded me, "Shouldn't you comfort me instead of praying for me to fail?" I shrugged my shoulders in a baffled gesture while joking, I didn't. I laughed a bit and patted her shoulder, "Break a leg." She nodded with a face filled with determination as the MC called her name. Presenting, Selena Gomez, the MC announced in excitement as the red curtain was drawn open again. "Thanks a lot, you guys," I said as I hugged each member of my group one by one. All of them were drenched in sweat and visibly tired from the continuous performance. "Go and enjoy the rest of the performance. Just know that you guys have done something extraordinary today," I complimented them, eliciting gleeful giggles. "Ah, I have no energy left," Alex complained. "We will be getting paid for our help, right?" She smirked, making a cash money gesture with her hands. I smiled mischievously and said, "Unfortunately, you guys didn't sign any contracts, except for today's release." "So? Ugh, money grubber," Alex complained, though I was just joking. I had every intention of paying them well for their help today. Billy chimed in, "I'm all right. You don't have to pay me." Phineas added, "Me too." "Really? If you get paid, you can invite Alex on a luxurious date. Don't you want the money?" I teased Phineas. "Why would I ever want to date Alex?" Phineas replied, his face flushing. "I don't want to date you either." Alex retorted, offended by Phineas's remarks. Billy laughed at them and said, "Ed, are you tired? Don't you want to rest for a bit too?" "I'm actually fine." "You guys are the ones lacking stamina," I replied, flexing my biceps. Besides, Selena agreed to sing only 2 songs. "Really? Without getting paid?" Billy asked, confused. "No, her payment will be donated to the cause. Also, she's not that famous yet, so I don't have to pay her much," I said with an evil smile. "Money grubber," Billy grumbled. "Money-sucking demon," Alex added after catching her breath. "Hey!" I yelled at them, causing them to giggle and run away. PFF, kids, I snorted in annoyance, waving goodbye to them before turning to Phineas, who was the only one staying behind. Can I stay backstage and watch? He asked with a stutter. Sure. Just don't peek at the dancers changing, I reminded him. He was astonished and said, You can do that? As long as you're famous enough, they might even change voluntarily in front of you, I replied. Don't teach him bad things. Alex and Billy shouted from afar as our conversation was still within their earshot. General POV. As Taylor watched Selena perform on stage, she gritted her teeth in jealousy before turning to her dad. If I hadn't gone back to Texas, I could be up on stage like her. Huh? Why is that my fault? I didn't ask you to fake your injury. Besides, isn't relaxing and supporting your friend's performance good? No. If I don't join, then I can't go to the after party. Then Ed and I can't. Taylor protested before abruptly cutting herself off, realizing she had almost revealed her true intentions to her dad. Can't what? Scott asked, raising an eyebrow. Nothing. Selena, you go girl. Taylor shouted toward the stage. Selena saw her and waved several times, signaling their close friendship to the world. It was a bit calculated, but it would benefit them both. The MC interviewed Selena after she finished performing, during which she spoke about how the cause moved her and her desire to take action. As expected, her reputation soared positively as both the live audience and those watching the broadcast believed in her heartfelt answer. Hey, honey, do those clouds look darker to you? Jay suddenly noticed nimbus clouds gathering in the previously sunny sky. Look at the stage, Jay, Gloria replied, rolling her eyes. I'm just worried. We're in the middle of an open field, and we didn't bring an umbrella, Jay said playfully. Luke turned to Claire and asked, Mom, do you have any snacks? Luke, are you hungry? A little bit. Didn't you stuff your face at the festival earlier? How can you still be hungry? Haley asked in astonishment. Luke growled and retorted, How can you be so close with Ed and still be best friends? Ah! Haley gasped in offense, while Mitchell and Cam looked at Luke in astonishment. It didn't take long for Selena to finish her performance and return backstage. After all, she just sang one song. Hey, you did great, Edward said. Selena smiled brightly and hugged him. It's been a while since I performed. I was so nervous, she confessed, her hands lingering on his chest as she gazed at him with a dazed expression. Hey, if Taylor sees this, she's going to kill us, Edward joked as he lightly brushed off Selena's hands. Taylor won't mind. As long as we're not dating, Selena replied flirtatiously, biting her lower lip. Well, we'll talk afterward, Edward joked before waving her goodbye and walking onto the stage. Hello again, everyone. Did you enjoy my friend Selena's performance? Yes. Ken the guitarist, McGee the drummer, Jess the keyboardist, and Johnson the bassist, all of Edward's previous helpers from his first concert, had replaced his friends on stage. The MC smiled and approached Edward for an interview. Hold up, Ed. Before you start the second half of the performance, I'm sure there are many people here who would like to get to know you better. Sure, shoot, Edward replied casually, holding his guitar. The MC grinned slyly before asking, A little birdie told me that you changed your album release from next spring to just a week from now. How did that happen? The crowd started to murmur, and Phil shouted, Nice. Not only him, but many more people were eagerly anticipating the first album. Even in the live broadcast, the audience was flooding the chat with messages about the album. Abby rolled her eyes and said, Rumors? It's not a rumor at all. He told the MC to ask that. Haley overheard it and was astonished as she watched Edward's acting on stage. He pretended to be surprised and curious about how the MC got hold of that information. Haley chuckled before muttering, Sigh, that Edward. Well, I don't know how you got the information, but it's true, Edward confirmed. The crowd erupted in cheers, causing Edward and the MC to wait for them to settle down before continuing. The album, Breaking, will be released a day after July 4th, so make sure to show me lots of support. Not only that, but I will also kick off a tour across the state starting on July 14th. From here all the way to the East Coast, I will perform in 33 locations before wrapping up the tour in Las Vegas, Edward continued. Oh, when can we buy the tickets? The MC asked curiously. You can check the tour schedule on my website for the locations, and you can buy tickets directly from the venues or online through the website, Edward replied, hiding his capitalistic smile and flashing a charming one. And for those of you who are planning to follow me on the tour, you can keep up with my updates on my Instagram. Instagram? It's a social media app one created, Edward said with a slightly embarrassed tilt of his body, introducing the app to the world. He took out his phone from his pocket and displayed his Instagram page for everyone to see. In the live broadcast, a small banner advertising the Instagram app popped up in the left corner of the screen. Quickly, the number of downloads for the newly released app on the Play Store exceeded 100,000, and Edward's followers on his Instagram page soared. Wait, you made this app? The MC asked, completely shocked as he saw the smooth interface and high-quality behind-the-scenes photos and short videos of Edward and his friends preparing for the concerts, along with a few pictures of him shooting the music video with Taylor. Capitalists like Jay saw right through what Edward was doing and smiled, appreciating the kid's business sense. Claire, don't you need to get to work? He asked his daughter. Oh no. Frankie offered to handle it. I left it all to her, Claire replied casually. The MC continued, so Ed, I heard another rumor that the next song you're going to sing is directed at a certain someone? Huh? Taylor smiled and quickly covered her mouth as the camera focused on her. Well, I won't admit it, but when you hear the song, you won't think of anything else except that, Edward replied bashfully. The fans screamed in excitement, while Haley turned to Abby, only to find that her friend had no reaction to this. You're not mad? Haley asked. Why? We're not dating. Besides, he already told me he's going to do this yesterday, Abby replied casually before shouting in support of Edward. Okay, I'll play along. Yeah, we won't know who the song is directed to, the MC said sarcastically but playfully. Yeah, let it be a mystery, Edward joked, making the crowd laugh. Without further ado, give it up for Edward Newgate with his new song, Check Yes. Juliet, the MC announced playfully, looking in Taylor's direction. Surprised by the whole situation, Taylor's face turned bright red, captured by the live broadcast, causing people all over the country to jest at the both of them. Edward turned to the band and counted a few beats before strumming his electric guitar in a soft rock melody. We the Kings, Check Yes Juliet. The shippers erupted in cheers as Edward sang. Lily, the fan club president, nervously wrung her hands as she muttered, "Oh my God. Oh my God. He's confessing directly."
Check yes, Juliet, kill the limbo. I'll keep tossing rocks at your window. There's no turning back for us tonight.
The camera zoomed in on Edward's face as he sang into the microphone, causing most of the girls in the audience and those watching the web broadcast to swoon.
Lace up your shoes. Here's how we do. Run, baby, run.
People who were sitting stood up and began to dance, rocking their heads back and forth, following the rhythms.
Don't ever look back. They'll tear us apart if you give them the chance. Don't sell your heart, don't say we're not meant to be. Run, baby, run. Forever we'll be you and me.
The crowd jumped and danced excitedly, while the entire world eagerly awaited Taylor's reaction. As expected, the girl covered her mouth with both hands, her face flushing red from embarrassment. That jerk. He should have given me a warning, Taylor muttered in mock anger, her attempt to stifle her smile proving futile.
Check yes, Juliet.
Edward sang with a wink, leaving Taylor in a daze. Don't, Taylor's dad suddenly said, dousing Taylor's wild imagination with a dose of reality.
Check, yes, Juliet, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, now fall in my arms. Now they can change the locks, don't let them change your mind.
Ah, this modern-day Romeo and Juliet are good too, Cam muttered aloud.
Lace up your shoes, here's how we do.
The crowd held its breath and then erupted in energetic cheers as Edward sang the chorus.
Run, baby, run, don't ever look back. They'll tear us apart if you give them the chance. Don't sell your heart, don't say we're not meant to be. Run, baby, run, forever we'll be, you and me.
Woo! The crowd erupted in cheers. The atmosphere was electric, even as the sky slowly darkened.
Fight through the night, we're fighting through the night. Way up high, the view from here is getting better with you by my side.
Edward crooned. Jenna shot a murderous glare at Taylor from a distance. I need to become a singer too, she muttered under her breath. Why not become an actress, sweetie? Her mother suggested.
Run, baby, run, don't ever look back. They'll tear us apart if you give them the chance. Don't sell your heart, don't say we're not meant to be. Run, baby, run, forever we'll be.
Edward stopped strumming his guitar and walked to the edge of the stage, dragging his microphone stand with him.
Run, baby, run, don't ever look back. They'll tear us apart if you give them the chance. Don't sell your heart, don't say we're not meant to be. Run, baby, run, forever we'll be, you and me. You and me, you and me.
The crowd cheered and chanted, Edward. Taylor. Edward. Taylor. Edward chuckled and asked through the mic, when did my name change to Taylor? The crowd laughed, but the excitement couldn't be brushed off. They continued to scream and chant for a while as Edward took a break to drink some water. After some time, the crowd began to calm down. Just as Edward was about to say something, a random person suddenly shouted loudly from afar. Game! Huh? What game? Edward asked, confused. The song game. The random person shouted again. Edward laughed and replied, I'll do that when we have more time and we're indoors. For now, let's focus on the show. Look up, we don't have much time. That wraps up this part of What If Karmic Gacha system in Modern Family World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.